Hello there and welcome back. As always, I'm BA Bricks and today I'm coming at you with my top 10 most wanted sets for re-release. This would include any set that has been discontinued or retired that I would like to see either re-released in its original form or released with an updated version, maybe with a higher piece count or using modern building techniques. As always, hit that subscribe button and that notification button down in the bottom right hand corner for more great content. And to start off with, in at number 10, we have the LEGO Lord of the Rings Tower of Orthanc. This set was released during the height of the popularity of the Lord of the Rings movies trilogy and was released, well, obviously when LEGO had the license. Unfortunately, they don't have that anymore, but it's highly likely that they will gain it again with the new upcoming Lord of the Rings TV show premiering on Amazon within the next year or so. It's just one of those sets that I always wanted. I love the movie, I love the tower's design, and I would love to see a bigger, better version in LEGO form. And that's pretty much it for that one. And in at number 9, we have the LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean Black Pearl set. There has been numerous iterations of this set over the years, and unfortunately I never got my hands on any one of them. The one pictured here you can see is probably the one that I most sought after in my eyes anyway, and that was because of the minifigure that is in it, Davy Jones, which on his own can retail for upwards of $80-$90 or euros wherever you're from. You will not get that minifigure cheaper than that as far as I can see anyway. This is just one of those sets. I'm a massive Pirates of the Caribbean fan, well, of the first three anyway, that, you know, have the original cast, and I'm not a big fan of the two they made afterwards, but this is just one of them ships that I really wanted because I enjoy the movie franchise, not because I'm a big fan of these kind of galleon style ships, but because I'm a big fan of the franchise and would have loved to have this as part of a centerpiece in my collection. I have a lot of the other Lord of the Rings, or not Lord of the Rings, Black Pearl-esque sets, but nothing that is the Black Pearl. And I would really love in some way, shape or form to get this as part of my collection someday. You never know, if Disney release a new Pirates of the Caribbean, they might re-release a Black Pearl, an updated, better version, but I just don't see that happening, and unfortunately this is the version of the set that I would love to see re-released and hopefully get my hands on in the near future. And next up, in at number 8, we have the UCS Xwing. There has been two iterations of this set in the past, one in 2002, 2003, and as far as I know, the other updated version, which is the one on screen, is the one from 2009. I've just never got a chance to get on this, and I just haven't really gotten around to going on Bricklink to get the parts together to build it. The canopy piece is very expensive for what it is, and unfortunately I'm not willing to pay €40 for that piece on its own, and I'm waiting for another one. There will be another one. It's not a matter of if this is going to be re-released, it will be re-released. LEGO will not go much longer without re-releasing another UCS style X-Wing. We've had two versions of the Y-Wing, two versions of the Snowspeeder. We've had the A-Wing and B-Wing in between this was release. So it's highly likely that this set will be re-released in the next, I'd say, tops 5 years. Probably look very similar. There's not many more modern building techniques you can adapt to the X-Wing. It's pretty much a standard build. You might be able to do something with the wings a bit better, make them look more flush, make them flat together like an actual X-Wing. But apart from that, I think it will just be swap and changing, maybe a few color variances here and there, up in the piece count, a bit more detailing on the landing gear or something like that, or a new function of the set or something like that. But either way, I would love to see a re-released X-Wing, mainly because I never got the chance to get one of the other two that were out, and I'm not so much, this would be higher on the list if I wasn't so sure that they were going to re-release one, but it's almost a certainty that they're going to re-release this one at some point, as well as another couple of sets on this list. So in at number 7, we have the Shield Helicarrier. I've marked it up as a Mark II, and I'll explain why now. This set was released shortly after the original Avengers movie, and it was a set that I actually bought and purchased shortly after it was released. I bought it, and then I sold it shortly afterwards, only to be disappointed again when it retired, and I'd realised that I'd fallen in love with the set again and wanted it and couldn't afford it. It was really upsetting. I'm still not really over that heartbreak. It was my own fault for selling it. But the version that I would like to see, if they were to release a new one, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility to re-release it, they do have a license for Marvel stuff, and the Marvel Avengers stuff is very popular, so it's highly likely that if we see the Helicarrier in universe again, that we might see another UCS style Helicarrier. And the one that I would like to see the most would be the one from the movie Captain America the Winter Soldier. If you've seen that movie, I won't make too many spoilers, but there's an updated version of the original Helicarrier that we see from the first Avengers Assemble movie. This one, the only major difference would be it's more sleeker, it's more compact, it has more weapons platforms on it, and it has repulsor engines rather than the turbine engines in the model that we got originally. And I would much rather see a UCS style version of that ship, hence why I've said UCS Helicarrier Mark II rather than the original one that we got. It's just, been a topsy-turvy love story between this set, with me buying it, selling it, and then wanting it again. In at number 6, we have a UCS Death Star. I'm not fussy which one, Death Star 1, Death Star 2. I'm not really fussy as long as it's a UCS style and not play scale style. This is another set that I never really got the chance to get, and the reason for that was I was too young at the stage that they had the UCS style Death Stars out. I was too young, didn't have the bankroll, obviously didn't have a job, I was in school, couldn't buy them. And then as my collection and my hobby and my love for the hobby grew and grew, these are the sets that I wanted. But unfortunately, the longer that I waited to get it, the more expensive they've been. And you're lucky to get one on eBay now for $1,000 used and upwards of $2,000 for sealed, brand new in the box. It's just outside my price range, and I would really love for Lego to re-release this set for the fans of my age and my generation that unfortunately were too young when these sets were released to get the opportunity to buy another one, a newer one, a better one, hopefully. And you never know, we might get that at the end of this year. There is a rumoured 6,000 piece UCS style set that will retail for about $800 coming out at the end of this year. That may or may not be a Death Star 2. It's leaning towards being an AT-AT, but you just never know. I might get my wish and it might be a Death Star. I can wait a little bit longer for a UCS style AT-AT. A lot of people would disagree with me, but I would much rather see a Death Star. Maybe the Death Star 2 would be my preference. So yeah. And in at number 5, it's who you gonna call? It is the Ghostbusters Firehouse. This set would be on my list mainly because it's part of one of my favourite movies. It's the Ghostbusters, and I love Ghostbusters. I'm not a big fan of modulars. I only have 2 of them. I have the diner and the assembly square. I don't collect Lego City stuff. I don't build modulars, but this is just one that I want to have and need to have. I think it would look great beside my UCS Ecto 1 that was just released, and this is just one of those sets that, in terms of what I like from pop culture, this is a set that I must have. The Ghostbusters Firehouse has been on my list for a very long time. It's why it's smack bang in the middle of my list. I would just love to have it for display purposes. It would look great beside my Acto 1, and it just throws back to my favourite movies. Most of my collection is based around my favourite movies. You've got Star Wars, the rumoured DeLorean from the Back to the Future series, hopefully will release by the end of this year as well. And I would have the Ghostbusters Ecto 1, the Batmobile, all Batman from Batman Begins, all that kind of stuff. So really, that is the reason why it's so high on this list and why I would love it so much. And hopefully I might get my wish if the reboot Ghostbusters Aftermath does kind of well. We might see the Firehouse in it, and we might get a re-release of the Firehouse. You never know. You just never know. And in at number 4, we have another set with a story behind it. This is Betrayal at Cloud City. This is a set that I've wanted for a very long time, and I'll tell you the reason why. In my country, we do not have any physical Lego stores. I have to get most of my collection from Lego Shop at Home or third-party retailers. I would visit this retailer maybe 3 or 4 times a month pre-COVID. And there was this one time when I wanted to get Betrayal at Cloud City, and instead I walked in and bought the Millennium Falcon UCS version and was like, oh, it'll be there the next time. The next time I went in and I bought the diner that was there. See, in this shop, the UCS style and all the modular styles, any of the big sets worth a lot of money were behind the till. They were not on display where consumers could pick them up and just buy them at the till, obviously for theft reasons. So there was 2 of them on the shelf there, and they were on there for quite a long time. They were on there for about 3, maybe 4 months. I'd noticed because I'm in there quite a lot. The third time I went in, I bought the rough terrain crane, and then I was like, right, the next time I go in, I'm buying it, definitely getting it. I'd spoken to the shop assistant, and she said we hadn't sold any of those in 3 months. These were the only 2 we've got in 3 months, and they're still sitting there, and they're the only 2 we have. And I was like, oh, they'll be there then next week, and I'll get it then. I went in the next week, and lo and behold, they were gone. The 2 of them were gone. She rang around a few of the other stores that they have, and they said, no, we don't have any either. And I got quite upset with myself, more so because it was my own fault. I went home. I was like, maybe I can get it on Shop at Home. No, I was a little bit out of the loop at that stage, and things retiring from Lego, when the Lego universe were not on the forefront of my brain. But I went online, and obviously it said big red writing, retired product, and I was like, oh no. And then I went on eBay trying to find one, and obviously I was a bit outpriced, was not willing to pay what they were. I can't remember what they were asking for at the time. It was years ago, but I was really just devastated I didn't get it, and it was my own fault. I refused to get it 3 times in a row, and it retired. And it's just a never-ending story of being a Lego collector. You put it on the long finger, and you just don't learn your lesson, and it retires, and you don't get it. It's likely that we'll see a re-released version down the line. We've had a few Mos Eisley Cantinas, obviously not Master Builder series, but we might get a re-release of this. You never know. With all the Star Wars for TV shows and bound to be more films, we might see Bespin Cloud City on screen again, and we might get a re-released version of it. You just never know. Oh, fingers crossed. Next up in at number 3 should be no surprise if you've watched my recent review. It is the Super Star Destroyer. Again, this is a set that was released when I was still in school, didn't have the bankroll, couldn't afford it. My love for the hobby wasn't as great as it was today, and it just, again, drifted away from me. I would love to see a re-release from it, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility that we will see a re-release from it. I'd say it's highly likely that we will see a different version of the Super Star Destroyer before we see another version of the regular Star Destroyer. And I really, really do hope that they re-release this one, because it is one that goes for crazy money on eBay, third-party sellers, Amazon, all the likes, thousands and thousands of euros and dollars. It's just way outside my price range. And yeah, I could bricklink it. I really could. I'm a completionist. I want to have my own box. I don't care if the box is ripped and torn to pieces or the instruction manual has been chewed by a dog. I don't care. I just want all 3 of them together from the same set that are brand new in box. That would be a bonus, but it would be mine, that I bought it, and hopefully for retail or a little bit more, and not the extortionate prices people are looking for. So yeah, that's why this one is high up on the list. I love Star Destroyers. I love their design, and the Super Star Destroyer would just complete my collection of Star Wars vessels, and I would really, really love to get this one part of my collection. And hopefully, Lego, if you're listening, please re-release this one, because I will buy 2 of them. Not just one, I'll buy 2 of them this time round. Next up on the list, in at number 2, this one might surprise you. It's the Maersk Lion Triple E. This is a Lego Creator set that was released a couple of years back. I can't even remember the exact year, but it's a set that I've always wanted. I didn't know the Lego released something like this up until maybe a year or so ago, and at that stage it was retired, and I couldn't get my hands on one for love nor money. I've seen a few appear online on eBay and Amazon and stuff like that, but unfortunately the ones on Amazon are overpriced, and I've been outbid on the ones on eBay a few times now. I'm still looking for that decently priced one where I hopefully will get my hands on it. And this, it's just a set that I love. I see these ships all the time. I see Maersk branding everywhere. I live in a city that's centered around the docks. It's a huge city, but it's also a huge international European port. I see Maersk ships, I see trains, cargo containers, trucks, everything with the Maersk branding on it all the time. And it's just something that I grew up seeing every day in my city, and I would love to have this as a little love note to my city, because at the end of the day, there's nothing you love more than your home. And this would be a little throwback for my collection to say, this is where I'm from. I see these. You could look at my model and you could go down the road 5 or 10 minutes and you would actually see one of these ships parked up in the bay. It's just one of those sets that I would just love to have. There's no reason. I'm not a big fan of boats or ships. I'd be more interested in warships than it would be of cargo vessels. But this one just ticks all the boxes. It says true to where I'm from. It's beautifully designed. It's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful set, and that's why I want it. I would love to be re-released. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. I'm not 100% sure if Lego still have the licensing for Maersk, but I would really like to see them renew it and make a few more Maersk products, because they made a lot of good ones. They made the Maersk train and a few Maersk ships. I would really like to see another one. I don't know what else to say apart from that. Now, folks, before we get to number 1, just a little bit of a disclaimer. It might get a little bit heated in here after this one. This one is a little bit controversial, and I'm just warning you that I might get a little bit angry, not with you, not with anyone else, but with Lego themselves, because this one is a controversial set. Yeah, you probably guessed what it is. This one technically isn't a re-release because it wasn't released in the first place. This is the V22 Osprey. As most things on this list, this one has a story behind it. This is a set that I pre-ordered with my third-party retailer that I told you about already. And a week before release, I got a phone call from said retailer who said, unfortunately, we cannot send this product out to you. Lego has recalled them. And I was like, okay. This was before that it was public knowledge to any Lego fan why Lego was recalling it, and that it was recalled. The retailer obviously got a little bit of a heads up first and notified me, because I'm quite well known in that retail shop for buying big Lego sets and a lot of Lego sets. They said, we're sorry, we can't send this out to you. Lego have recalled it. We don't know why. If there's a defect with the product or whatever, you'll have to get in touch with them yourself. On the retailer side, they gave me my refund and also gave me an extra €50 to spend on whatever I wanted, which they didn't have to do, but they did anyway. Probably because of my loyalty as a customer, but they didn't have to do that and they did. And anyway, I went home, Googled it, and then I found out Lego had recalled the set due to it going against their company values. And I was scratching my head thinking, this is a V22 Osprey. It's more so a troop carrier. It drops tanks into battle. It's not really a weapon. Like, you think of helicopters that are designed for killing and death and everything. You think of Apache gunships, regular gunships, the big Russian helicopters that are gunships. This one wouldn't be the first, definitely wouldn't be in the top 10 of helicopters that I would think would be military. It has a lot more civilian uses than it does military uses. And that was the reason that Lego gave for recalling this one. And I don't get that. Is it just because it's not fiction that this thing was recalled? Because they release hundreds and hundreds of sets since their inception with their licensing with Marvel, DC and Star Wars that are designed to kill people. Imperial Star Destroyers, designed to kill and intimidate people. Super Star Destroyers, Death Stars, which are designed to kill people and have killed millions of people when they blow up. Doesn't make any sense to me. This set, they surely must have known before releasing this set that this was going to be controversial. Why? I don't know. They purposely made it look like a rescue aircraft, yet still recalled it. So in the back of their heads, they must have had every intention of recalling this one at the last minute, because of the fact they turned into rescue aircraft. Like, they plastered rescue all over it. Like, if you look at the set, it's on the 2 tail rotors, it's on the twin rotors, it's on the rear rudders, it's everywhere on it, it's underneath it, it's on top of it. I just don't get it. Lego dropped the ball with this one. They cannot come out and say that this goes against their company values and continue to sell the Lego Star Wars stuff that has literally fighter in the titles, Death Star in the title, Star Destroyer in the title, and come out and say it goes against our core company values. Basically what they're saying is, if it's fiction, it's okay, because if fictitiously we can kill people, it's okay if this thing kills people, but if it kills people in real life, then it's not okay. Which I don't get, and it hasn't really sat well with me since the recall of this product, and it's one that I would hope Lego reconsider re-releasing down the line, because this set is just opened up a whole kettle of fish of if you release this, why aren't you releasing this? And if you're not releasing this, why is this still on the shelves? It's just that kind of way. That's just my opinion. You might disagree with me on it, and I know a lot of people would, but it's just, I don't know, it's just rubbing, every time I kind of talk about this set, it's just like rubbing salt in the wound. I just get more worked up and more agitated, and I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there that are agitated and worked up, because the reason behind it goes against their company and brand values. It doesn't hold true across the board. I don't mind if that's the reason you recalled it and everything else was removed as well, but you kind of being a little bit hypocritical, and that's the part I have a problem with, because they've released numerous sets. They've released a version of this set, Lego 3-in-1 twin rotor aircraft, which is very similar design to this one. They must have known, because it was modelled off this aircraft. It had to have been, and the reason why they didn't call it that was because they didn't have the license for Boeing at the time. So why release that, which probably would have sold a lot more units because it was only worth about €20, to this one that cost, I think, was 150 or €200 when it was supposed to be released? It just makes no sense to me. Anyway, guys, I told you it was going to get a bit heated. That one's still a tough one to take. It's a tough pill to swallow, that one. But that has been my top 10 most wanted sets that I want to see re-released, and hopefully will see re-released. And this one right here is the one that I want to see re-released the most, simply because I believe the reasoning behind its recall was, we won't say the word, but I'm sure everyone out there knows what word I was going to use. Guys, anyway, thank you very much for being around, sticking around to the end of the video. Thank you very much. We've reached numerous channel milestones over the past week or so since the channel's inception, and I'd like to thank every single one of you for that. We will have competitions and giveaways very, very soon to mark said milestones once I get the proper infrastructure in place to do one properly, fairly for everyone, and hopefully get a few more subscribers on board. That will be in the works. So once again, I've been BA Bricks. You've been awesome, and thank you, and I will see you very, very soon.